Hello, hello, beautiful stars. Today I'm doing an experiment. Let's see. Eclipse wrap up and last quarter insights of the last quarter moon phase. And so the question here is what drives you? And I'm doing a little experiment today because I'm doing the live in YouTube and in Instagram at the same time. So I'm just preparing everything and let's get started. And so I did write an email to my email list called What Drives You for the last full moon eclipse that we had in Aries. And so I wanted to remind you here some of the most important points because remember that this was the last eclipse of the year, and not only the last eclipse of the year, but also the last eclipse of North Node in Aries before the nodes shift into Pisces next year, next January. And so, hello, Hannah. How are you? So good to see you. And so, yeah, let's dive in. And first things, I always connect with the, and this is something that I always do with my clients as well, to your heart, because it's very easy that with all the energies that we've been going through, and I've also taken some time off from social media because it's been like the ones that are sensitive, it's been quite a roller coaster of emotions and so on. And so I invite you for this live to come back into your heart for a moment if you want to close your eyes. And just take a deep breath and call all your attention and presence into your heart, right here, right now. And so simply by taking a moment to close your eyes, you can come back into the present because it's very easy that when when there are so many energies going on, to go into your mind, to go into the monkey mind, and to lose your shit a little bit, and just we've been going through eclipses of South Node in Libra as well, so this affects our relationships, starting with our relationship with ourselves. And so it is important to take it easy, to take a moment every time we feel that we disconnect or we go more into the mind or we are just being driven by the emotions of the moment, and then come back. Hello, Sylvia. How are you? And then come back into the present because everything is happening here now. Nothing else exists. And so yeah, it is very easy, and I'm the first one that it's very easy to get lost into the mind. And so yeah, so as I was talking about, this has been like an eclipse trilogy because we have one. Well, the last one was very small, but like at some places they don't even consider it an eclipse, but it was like still a partial lunar eclipse, and it was wrapping up all of the series. And so next year we still have, I think, some, I think one in Libra or Aries, but it's already without the notes because they're gonna shift. And so it feels like a great time. Yeah, fine. So it feels like a great time to wrap things up and to actually extract, to reflect on what this was teaching you personally, and to make the most of it, because everything is happening for you, it's not happening to you. And this is also something that you, it's important to keep reminding yourself, because sometimes it's easy to forget. And so yeah, and this is something that it created more awareness. And awareness is always like consciousness, it's always great that it keeps increasing. And so it's the perfect time to do this reflection, because today we had the last quarter as well, and so this is a moment where it's already the last week of the cycle, and this is perfect for moments of reviewing, reflecting, realigning, and and actually integrating all of these energies from the eclipses, and also preparing for the new beginning that is coming with the new moon in Scorpio that we have on November 1st, next week. And so the first thing that I wanted to talk about is the energy of the last full moon eclipse. And so this is something that I dive deeper into the email that I sent to the email list. And if you're not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Because this is the best way to keep up with all the moon phases, and this is where I give you a lot of information of what's going on, to be up to date and with the sky, and and so you know what is being activated, and then if you're interested into going deeper, you can also have a session with me, and then we can go exactly into what is activating for you. But the first thing is that with this full moon eclipse is it was ruled by Mars, and so Mars is the ruler of the masculine, and we with the eclipse it's like there is like something that it's being eclipsated, and at the same time something that, because it's missing, you can see it very clearly. And so and so I was talking about as well how it has on a higher frequency, it is about Mars is all about drive, and that's why also the question what drives you, and it's about drive, focus, this energy that we need, this physical energy that we need to get things done. And so this is super important, but it is always about where you are playing this frequency from, or what frequency are you playing this energy from, because it is very easy that we go into a program masculine, from more from the matrix, more from what we learn, more from how we've been conditioned, how this energy has been conditioned in us, which is has been very conditioned because like from since we were little kids, it's all about like productivity and being productive in the things that they tell you should be productive in. And so it's very easy in that process, as we're growing up with all of this conditioning, to lose touch with what we actually want to do with that energy, what's actually our inner drive, instead of the outer drive telling you that you should use this energy for this or for that. And so this is a perfect moment to go into reflecting about that, and into seeing, being aware of uh, what is that driving force for you, and what is the direction that it's taking, because Mars is all about focus, it's about where is it where is it pointing to. And so, and on the lower frequency as well, it rules the ego. And so, and the ego, it's like the function that it has, it's basically to keep you alive. And so it is not your enemy. It wants to keep you alive, and that it's important as well, since we are in a human body and there are dangers and so on. But um, you also have to be aware of when this is controlling you, and not letting you step into how you want to use this energy from your inner being and not from how the mind has been conditioned. And remember, this is something that they also tell in the email, how thoughts are not, and usually because in human design you can see like most people have the head centers undefined, like the head and the arm, especially the, and so this means that you basically pick up on the thoughts that are in the environment, so they are not even your thoughts. And so it is very, that's why it's so important in meditation to learn to, let the thoughts go. And it's not about suppressing, because it's never about suppressing these parts of you. It's never about suppressing your Mars is a super important energy. That's why it's not about fighting against this energy, but integrating it and directing it yourself instead of the program or the conditions or how they have taught you to use it, and come back into what actually you like, asking yourself what actually you want to do with that energy. And so, yeah, and that's an important distinction, and how that Mars is also connected with sovereignty. And actually in the full moon there was like this big grand square, grand cross, and it was like I was saying, like it's this, like it seems like it's marking the where the treasure is. And so, and you can see, because if there is a big cross, it's crossing the center. And you can see that in the zodiac charts, it's the wheel of the zodiac, and there's always a point in the center, and the aspects, like especially oppositions and so on, they cross in the middle. And it's important to realize how you are in the center. You are not the aspect, you are not the planet, you are not the circumstances, which are the areas of the zodiac, which mark the life areas, the circumstances that are played in those areas. But you're actually the one in the center, and all the energies are crossing through you, like the thoughts are passing your head and so on. And so it is very important to remember that and to come back to that center, and to distinguish what is your voice from what are the voices of around you. And so this was also a trilogy of eclipses that was very focused on boundaries as well. And it's been like, I don't know for you, but with an undefined solar plexus center, it's been really tricky for me as well, because it's something that we all know is important, but if it's something that it's with an undefined solar plexus center, it's something that can be difficult for you. And so it's like you need to keep mastering it. And so there are layers and layers. And the more you do it, and this is Mars, the more you do it, the easier it becomes. And so this was a very important moment in relationships, to learn to set boundaries and to recover that sovereignty. And sovereignty, we often think about it in terms of also of outside and the relationship we have with others and so on, which is important, but it's also a reflection of something else. And this is why it's so important that it starts with you, it starts inside in your center. And so that's why it's it's so key to have like tools like meditation, and even maybe you don't like meditation, whatever, but there are alternatives like just walking in nature and things like that. And so having that moment, that space for you every day, where you reconnect with that center, and where you like realign that direction. In human design they call it the monopole, so that direction of where it's pointing to. And so to review, is that direction pointing to what's actually aligned with my inner being, or is that direction just influenced by some emotion that I have that wasn't even mine, or something that someone told me that got me upset or something like that? Like, is it an external circumstances that is affecting that direction, or it's actually you who says, yeah, I'm intentionally going in that direction? And so the second thing that I want to talk about, and just um, yeah, so the second thing that I wanted to talk about is the last quarter moon energy, and this is where we go into the reflection mode and letting go, because all last quarters are a perfect moment to let go. And if you think about it, it's just like in a woman, because the women's cycles are very connected to moon cycles. This would represent the phase where you're just more in premenstruation, and it's like you've been accumulating all the things of all the month, like all the cycle, and you're just about ready to let them go, right? But it's just this moment that you are a little like, and it can be also a moment that if you know how to use an energy, it can be very creative as well. But it's more in a way that mm, more in a therapeutic way. So, for example, uh, to me, one way that used to work is to write a poem or something like that. But you take that energy that it's not very comfortable, and then you kind of create art with it or something like that. But it's more a healing moment. It's a moment to, there is something that you're feeling that it's kind of too much, more like overwhelmed by all the circumstances that have played out during the month. And it's like, okay, now I'm going to check this yes, this no, this yes, this no. And so today, with the last quarter that we had at 1 degree of Leo, it's very funny because Leo is the king. And yesterday, we actually, during this trilogy of eclipses, we've been watching with my partner The Lord of the Rings. And yesterday, we finished and we were watching the Return of the King, which is the last movie. And so, and then I realized, I checked the chart and I realized it's the last quarter at 1 degree of Leo, which is the king. And so this is talking about letting go of something that it has to do with that crown or that king, that sovereignty, and that concept, the concept that we have about it. So the problem king, like I said, this is also very connected with the masculine. The problem is not the king, but what type of king. Because you can also see in the movie, for example, that there is a steward that is covering up for the king, the true king, which is Aragon in the movie, and and so he's not doing a very good job. But then it's like how Aragon was actually not taking his power, and he had like his ancestor, his karma, right? That he had to work over it, and then when he works through his karma, he's actually able to reclaim that power and to actually reclaim the throne. And so you can imagine that can be something like that, like your inner king, your inner Mars is kind of the moment to ask yourself, what have you been, what has been driving you, like what have you been putting in that throne, and then say, okay, that action. And actually this is a cycle that was wrapping up also what started with the total solar eclipse that we had on April 8th in Aries. And so it's a moment also to say, okay, from April 8th to October 17th, or to now, because we're still in the cycle, from April, what actions did I take in the direction that I want? For example, if you put some goals in the beginning of the year, this is a perfect moment to review it and say, okay, what actions I took in that direction, and what inactions I took. Why? Because maybe that procrastination has maybe it's because of something, maybe it's misaligned. And am I letting that go, or am I replacing by something else that is more aligned? Or I'm actually picking it up because I've been postponing it because of, I don't know, because actually I was afraid, whatever it is. And so this brings me to the exercise I wanted to share with you today, which is, I'm gonna guide you. And so, and I think it's easier to do this with your eyes closed, but it's up to you, because maybe if you're more connected, it's easier to know these voices. But I would like you to be able to identify the voice of your mind, the voice of your emotions, and the voice of your soul. So you can imagine, in general, like the thoughts happen more in the head, the the emotions happen more in the kind of the belly, and then the soul is more in the center, in the heart. But actually, it can vary it, because you can have like your intuition in different places, right? But in general, for you to situate yourself, this helps. And so ask yourself, which one has been leading you? Is it the voice of your mind, like the rational thoughts, like I should be doing this or I should be doing that? Or is, like, if you close your eyes for a moment and then check the goals that you had in April, the actions that you have been taking or not taking, and then what's the mind saying? And here we're not judging, just listening. And maybe it's saying, um, like for me, it's saying, like I should be more far away than I had like very ambitious goals, and maybe I'm not as far as I wanted to be by October, and the year is ending, and so on. And so, yeah, just listen to it and then say thank you, and then go into your emotions. How are you feeling about it? And maybe you have some guilt, for example, or maybe you're feeling, and maybe now the mind is interfering, like I should be feeling this or I should be feeling that, but what do you actually feel? No judging. And then just realize how the heart, it's simply the one that is observing that. It's listening to the mind, it's listening to the emotions, but it's just the consciousness. It's not one identity, it's identity less. Just the consciousness that it's observing everything. And it's the one that could be making the choices if you let it. So where does your soul would like to go? What actions your soul would like to take? What actions doesn't want to take? What is a yes that it's like it fulfills all your body when you consider it? And what's definitely something that you are letting go of? And so realize how the goal is not shutting down any part of you. It's loving them all and integrating them all, but not letting one part, like one thought or one emotion, to to make the choices, because eclipses are never a good time to make long-term decisions. They can stir up a lot of emotions, a lot of changes, a lot of situations in relationships. And so it's a moment to observe it all, integrate it, and then take the reins again to lead your life again from the center of you, from who you really are, and not your conditioning, your programming, or what the world wants from you, but what you're actually here to bring to the world. And so I invite you to honor all what you have done or not done up to this point this year and realign in the direction your soul wants to go. So you can be purpose driven instead of driven by all this programming from the past, which it doesn't even exist. And if you would like some help into deepening into that, because I know it's not sometimes it's not just that easy, but it can be. It can be simple, but it has a lot of layers. This work, and so I am preparing. I'm very excited because I'm preparing. I've been working a lot under the surface, like it hasn't been that visible, but there is a lot I'm preparing, and I've been working on a new free mini course for my subscribers called Three Secrets to Unlock Your Cosmic Blueprint. It's gonna be available very soon. I'll announce it soon, and it's gonna help you a lot in identifying exactly how you created the false you, and in reversing that, what is the root back to who you really are, to who you really are. And so very excited to share that with you very soon. And thank you for joining me today. And I'll see you in the next video. And remember that you have the power to choose the direction of your life, of your business, and of where you would like to go next.